you guys, you foreigners, have to help us. And so they asked if they could have a little conference with Dr. Siddiqui. Dr. Siddiqui gave him, yes. So they was pressing him for, I was looking at them like they was crazy. So Dr. Siddiqui, he told them, I don't know what y'all talking about. He says, I'm on the dole. In England, he was on welfare because he had heart trouble, you know what I mean? He said, I'm on the dole. The dole, that's what they call it in England. He said, I'm on the dole. I don't know, you know. And I was looking at him like, y'all are pressing the wrong people, you know. But they was no tough guy. They did that with many people. They did that with Brother Mahmoud, Abdul Rauf, you know, that we're the original strugglers and we have the which they weren't doing nothing. They was all phonies. They was just all pure frauds, every last one of them, and they was putting on the front. And they didn't get nowhere with that. They didn't get nowhere with that. So I had a choice to help keep the brothers focused on what they was doing, to help keep them motivated, you know what I'm saying, and to help in the organization. Remember, I'm traveling every day, all the time, from university to university. I know everybody, and when I go in any town, I'm looking at the Muslims. You know, I'm going to the Masjid, I'm going everywhere. Do you know our people up in New York, the Negro, they could be doing the exact same thing with the immigrant community. They can speak like that. They could present that program. They could present a real revivalist program like they talk about Malcolm X. They just talk about him every now and then when they're out the door. But they don't present a program, you know what I mean? They don't present, it's not that, I listen to their tapes and everything. They have a good sounding Islam, but it's not what the people need to hear. They already read all Islamic books. They need to know what to do here in America, right? And if you notice, there's been no national conference here in America on what the Muslims should do, not the conferences that they have with big bazaars and people in there jumping up and down. But they haven't had any conferences on what is the Muslim situation in America after the first Trade Center, after 9/11, none of that. All they do is get up and holler about Islamophobia. But now, see, we got enough people to do something. We got enough people now to take action that if the people, but perhaps the immigrant community found their footing, they could help. If they want to be loved by America, they should dedicate themselves to help America. Yeah. They all want to be loved by America, right? Well, do something to make them like you then. Give them leadership and guidance, you know what I mean? But they don't do that. Of course, we know they don't do it. But this thing about choice, and I like the brother to talk about writing our own story. That's all the stuff that, you know. Well, anyway. So, my choice was the Islamic movement. And all those things like Potential Unlimited, I did it with the Muslims. So becoming a serious motivator, it was with the Muslims. Now if we motivate one group of people, the Iranians, that's going to demotivate the Saudis. So the choice we took was, well, who's right in all of this? You know, remember, just imagine, we don't have no, as they used to say, no fight in this, you know what I mean, no dog in this fight. We just want to do what's right. So we look at, the revolution in Iran. What are they saying? So you look right at leadership. What is they being told? And how serious are they about following what? So I look at them. They got a good leader. The good leaders tell them what to do, and they're trying to follow it. They actually, you know what I mean? So it's not like some irrational decision, because by that time, see, we've grown, and so we've been through this before. And other people, they don't understand, like they talk about the Russians do this to people, the Russians do that to people. When I came back to America and turned myself in, I was in LA County Jail. Shoot, they put me in the 3300. 3300 is a psycho ward for people who's crazy. And in the cell, there's feces all over the wall. And they have people coming by with white coats on and a clipboard. And they're standing in front of your cell. This one is a psycho, and then they come in front of my cell. I'm laying down and my foot on the bars. And I have to listen to these crackers describe me on their thing. Because this is what they're trying to convince me that I am. You know what I mean? In other words, and then maybe they don't like that. I remember I went in the dining room and the white man said something to me, the guard. I just jumped up on him and wrapped my feet around his waist. I was doing martial arts at that time. And I locked in with this cracker and I just started biting him. You know, I ain't throwing no punches because I already know if they know what they're doing, you know what I mean? I just wrapped up with it. And man, when I saw that cracker the next time, he had bites all over us. He was ate up, and I could taste him right now. He tasted like, ain't nobody can taste it that ain't tasted the white man. Well, I tasted the cracker, and he was hollering, and I was just locked in like this. And I was just chewing that cracker up. I didn't have to do nothing. And they trying to get me off of it, and I just rolling right along. You know. So the point is, the stuff that sometimes young people, they sound really tough, but they haven't been through a whole lot. So you know that, but they're saying the right thing though. They are saying the right thing. And I started liking right away when he said, what was it? He said something about if you do what's easy, life is hard, and if you do what's hard, life is easy. I've been saying that all the time. In fact, I've been saying everything that he's been saying, I've been saying that all along. So I look at this as that we are not alone in this endeavor. See, you have to be tuned into where your help is coming from. So somebody might have just stick that on the phone and listen to this and listen to that. Because I wasn't listening to Chris Hedges and all the guys till all of a sudden they popped up on the phone. So I started plugging them in. Same thing with this. Motiversity, they call it, not university, but motiversity. To me, if young brothers like that can reach, because the dialogue he's using is the dialogue of today, can reach enough people within a certain framework of time, he can prepare them, right, to be ready. Because see, what we're talking about is different than the rules. What he's talking about is getting ahead, face the challenge, build yourself up, and you can do anything. That thing is right for what he's talking about. But for what we're dealing with, you have an international system designed to stop you from going ahead. A whole internet that's focused on you. That's different than I want to be a champion basketball player, so all you got to do really is practice, 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 train, 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 right? And no matter what happens, you're going to become good. If you got a good training program, you may not be the best, but you're going to get good. And if you get to get in there and play enough, pretty soon, you're going to start easing on up. And the longer you last, the better you're going to get. So suppose you're not jumping up and down and ruining your knees and your ankles and stuff, right? You're going to get good. And you might be there a while, long enough to get good. That's where we come in on all of this. It's not that that's anything new or extra special, but it's good for where we are right now. And it's a good message to our people. Just think if enough of our young people were doing regular training. They got up in the morning, they ran the street or the hills or the parks or what have you, right, or rode bikes, and they did some just the physical fitness gets you ready, you know. And I notice in police training, they always have physical fitness as a part of police training. Physical fitness is a part of Army training. In fact, when I was coming up, the only people that ran was people in the Army. When they came out, that's why we ran in Army boots, because the only people was running in those days, unless you were on a track team, cross country, the only people that ran was, well, look at the physical, how people looked in the 50s and the early 60s on back. You know, look at the white women, they were straight up and down sticks. Marilyn Monroe was supposed to be, and Jane Mansfield was supposed to be the shapeliest white women they had. Right? Look at them now, according to these cracker girls they got now, or walking down the street. You ever notice, not that I pay attention, but these white girls now, they have shapes. White girls used to be flat behinds and all of that stuff. They ain't like that now. I don't know what happened to them. They must have been eating a whole lot of, took something, but you know, they have shapes, physical shapes. Look at the men. In 1959, Steve Reeves, who had been Mr. America or something, he played Hercules. Hercules? He looked good then, but he didn't have but 19-inch arms or something. Now, man, the people are so, you see some few of the muscle people, they're grotesque. It's not, that's too, you know, it's grotesque now, right? It's muscle on top of muscle on top of muscle. I wouldn't want to be like that. First of all, it's too much work, and then it's not necessary. That's what they like. Them boys, as far as I would see anybody going, was in the days, what was the guy before Arnold, Mr. World? The black guy from Cuba, I think his name, Sergio Oliva. I don't know if you ever seen him. Yeah. Boy, that boy was tight. But back in the early 70s. But any farther than that, now that was back then, that's 40, 50, that's 40, it's almost 50 years ago. Those people now wouldn't win too many contests, right? And that's okay. The point I was making was, you look at the people All the movie stars now, if a man take off his shirt, he look like he been working out. I don't care whether it's Mel Gibson or whoever it is. It wasn't but 2 or 3 guys, it wasn't but 1 or 2. Charles Bronson, way back when, and maybe 1 or 2. I can't even remember.
Douglas, he used to be Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas, semi, but not like Kirk Douglas was and what's the name was was healthy, but he wasn't like these guys out now. He's probably in better condition. Burt Lancaster, and it wasn't but a few. When them people took off their shirts, they had 13-inch arms. It was like pitiful, you know what I mean? They were normal human beings. Like right now in Hollywood, everybody work out. You have to work out. You know, you have to have a little 6-pack, at least 4. You know, something got to be halfway together. Okay. So, in what we're doing now, we chose what we're doing. When we got to messing with Iranians, we knew what the cost was. They didn't, you know, they're just students here in America, but I knew exactly what the cost would be. I saw the power of Saudi Arabia from the very beginning, and I knew the power of the government, and so I chose to do what I did. Okay, it don't make no difference that in the meantime they go through a little change or metamorphosis. It doesn't make any difference. I did what I did with them because of the environment, what their leadership, where they was going, and that was the right decision. They was attacked from everybody in the world. That Gulf War in 1988, when they was on the Fowler Peninsula in 88, they was almost throwing rocks at Saudi Arabia, at Saddam, because that embargo had cut off all weapons. Arms dealers, nobody was selling nothing. They couldn't. The poison gas was working so well because you see on the book that I gave you with them plastic outfits. Imagine what you see the temperature. Imagine it's 120 degrees in southern Iraq with that plastic on. Can't do it. You got to take it off, right? The poison gas is there, and you know it's there. But you can't stay in that stuff in southern Iraq.
And fight.
And you just can't do it, and you gotta take it off. You know, when you take it off, you know, if you just sit there and get some shade, you might be able to wear that. But walking around, moving, and it's 120 degrees, 115, and on a cool day it's 110. And you're out in the sun. That's the thing about that desert warfare. You are directly in the sun. It's not Vietnam, where you can hide in the bushes. There are no bushes out there. Okay. So we know what the price is. We know what the price was. I know when I used to go to Iran, you know, when they had these military parades and they goose-stepping by, I used to speak at military parades, you know, because some of our brothers joined the military. One of my best friends, he died of poison gas after years later because we was going up on the news stand to speak. I would speak, of course, in English, and one of them would translate to all the troops. And when I was talking to them troops, Them guys, our brothers from here would have tears in their eyes. They were so happy. It wasn't like the dumb stuff they're doing now. Everybody, especially that went back, was serious about it. And they had an idea. They knew how valuable it was what we was doing on their behalf. And I would mention to them the cost too. I say, y'all going home. I said, I'm gonna be here with Boss Man. Me and Boss Man are gonna be here together when this is all over. I said, yeah, me and Boss Man gonna still be here. And they knew that. So they understood what was really going on. And one of my friends, he was down in New Orleans and in Lafayette. We used to call him Mahmoud Lafayette because he went to school in Lafayette, Louisiana. He was the most active one down there. They opened a center in New Orleans, and the Negroes was going there, and the Negroes was going there was part of one of our friends' structure and organization, and he would call me and be telling me, don't mess with them, or don't do that. I said, man, shoot, that don't make sense. So I didn't pay no attention to it. But the government knew how effective this guy was. And almost every one of the ones that was affected, the FBI snatched him up, and when he looked up, he was back in Iran. But then he became a colonel in the Pastoran, the colonel. So when I would come there, they would, ease me in, and I would be making lectures to the troops. Really, is what it is, flags waving and everything. And so when we was going up the stairs, I saw him stop on the second level and just stay there. At that time, I had no idea what was going on. But he'd been out on the battlefield, and that poison gas had slowed him down. And to get up to the second level, he had to stop on the first level. But it's a lot of brothers of that age. They're dying, and they're still in hospitals in Iran now. That war was over 40 years ago, something like that. And they